My name is Henry Clement. I am a soldier in the French army, fighting in the trenches during the second year of the Great War in 1916. This is my recount of the events that are portrayed in the story of Amnesia, the bunker.
The producers of this footage are aware the voice actor we hired is doing an American accent. We apologize for the historical inaccuracy. He couldn't do a French one. Je suis desolate.
I remember running back to a bunker on the French lines. Lambert yelling behind me to get into cover. Reaching the safety of the dirt and sandbags, I found some ammunition to refill my empty revolver, and turned a corner to find Germans firing down at me. Lambert took care of them as he continued on above the trenches. I had been shot in the leg, but it was manageable, so I fashioned a bandage out of some torn-up uniforms in the very next room. I also took the time to craft a little tin for it as well and painted it with a cross, but then immediately opened it and used the bandage and threw down the tin because it was no longer needed. The door to the next room wouldn't open, so I did the only sensible thing and threw a grenade at it. This persuaded the door to open. Pressing onwards through the trenches, a German above threw a gas grenade down at me. I hate mustard. Lambert brought me a gas mask to keep me from breathing it in, and we made our way back to the bunker for a short reprieve. I was back out on top of the trenches on patrol that evening, and walked past Yvonne as he listened for earthquakes. Up ahead, in a blast crater, I saw Lambert down below. He wasn't well. I offered him some water, and attempted to carry him back to the bunker. But on the way, the Germans spotted us and tried to blow us both up. Lambert was dead, and I wounded gravely in the head. People cope with grief in different ways, and in that moment, laying there next to his body, I wrote a eulogy poem for my friend. Oh Lambert, I got hurt. You did more, Bert. At least you went out with a bang. Kablambert. I awoke later back in the bunker, in the cot in the infirmary. But something was wrong. It was quiet. Too quiet. Maybe even 3 or 4 quiet. I found a doctor's note detailing that I was in a weak coma for days due to my head injury. It was dark in the base. Sporadic lighting flickered, providing a tenuous feeling of safety as I pressed onward. Luckily, I found a dynamo flashlight in a cupboard nearby. I pulled the string a few times to ensure it was working, and moved on. I entered the mess hall. In the back, near the pantry, I found another gravely injured soldier enjoying one final cigarette. He said we were trapped down here because the officers in charge of having sex with rats ran away, collapsing the exit tunnel behind them, probably so the rats couldn't call them in the morning. The only way out is to blow the tunnel back open, with dynamite from the arsenal and a trigger handle from the excavation site. Suddenly, we both hear a noise that the dying soldier says is a thing coming for him. He offers me his gun to finish him off before the thing can. I suspected it was a rat, feeling angry and lonesome from getting so brutally ghosted by the officers. But first, I have to find some ammunition for his pistol in the pantry. It's easy to find, so I return to the soldier, but I walk slowly because I already strongly suspect that he's gonna get grabbed right before I reach him. And in a bittersweet victory, my hunch pays off, and he's pulled through a hole in the wall. 1 point for my horny rat theory. After shooting the padlock off a large door, I reach the administration room and turn on a lantern. The bunker map is on the wall. I shake my head again at the officer's idea that we shouldn't have the full bunker layout drawn in on each map, because it would be a funny prank for if they ever retell our story in the future. In hindsight, that was too much foresight. Down the stairs from administration is the generator room. It was dead, which explained the power being off everywhere, but didn't explain why the power was still on in some places. I grabbed a nearby gas can and filled the generator up. There was also a pocket watch here, and I set it for the amount of generator time that fuel bought me. Wouldn't want to be caught out in the dark, with the giant horny rat about. First up, I figured I'd head to the arsenal, as it was just down the hall, but the emergency lockdown door was locked down. I'd have to figure out how to get it open. Down the next hall is the officers' quarters, so I decide to try there. In Sergeant Joubert's office, there are a couple notes. It seems like what is down here might be a bit worse than a large horny rat. Sergeant Joubert has the code to the arsenal weapons locker, and will apparently be broadcasting it to the comms room in the soldiers' quarters. I'll head there right after I finish going through the other officers' rooms. There is definitely something down here with me, and it certainly doesn't like me being here. Every single noise I make brings angry grunts and growls from the darkness. I really have to fart, but for once I'm able to fight back my childish immaturity. Not really how I want to leave this world. I've been finding bodies down here with dog tags on them, and on the back they have locker combos. They certainly won't be needing their stuff anymore, so I decided to head over to the mission supply room for a bit of a raid. On the way past, I found the panel for lifting the lockdown gates. Of course, the damn thing broke as soon as I tried to use it. Typical. Didn't really matter in the end, though. I found a replacement one in Jay Delisle's locker, since I knew he had an obsession with collecting red handles. It's odd, for sure, but I just shrug off things like that. We're at war. It messes with you. I guess that was his way of getting a handle of things. With my way into the soldiers' quarters opened again, I headed in, hoping I wouldn't run into the beast on the way to get the arsenal unlock code. Making my way through the halls and flipping power on where I could, I reached the bunk rooms and, of course, the power went out. I forgot to put more fuel in. Genius. I power up my light and make the best of the situation. No reaction to the noise, so the beast must not be nearby, yet. I found a large cinder block and broke down the door into the clerk's office with the map on the wall noting it down. I also found a note that seemed to indicate that Lambert didn't die in the explosion, and that it was he that carried me back to the base after my head injury. But where is he now? I took the fuel that I had been finding back upstairs and powered the generator back up again. No sense pushing my luck. Turns out, that didn't make the situation better anyway. I saw it. I was back in the soldiers' quarters, rummaging through a room when I heard a noise out in the hall behind me. I went out, and it was there. Like some sort of large, furless demon gorilla. I shot the fuel barrel behind it, which blew and scared it away, but for how long? After some time more, searching for the keys to the communications room. Success. It was tucked into Soldat Picard's bed. Didn't really talk to him much. First name was Jean-Luc or something like that. Always said he wanted to travel to space. I opened the comms room, turned on the power, and fired up the radio. Joubert's broadcast was still working, and the code was 1, 2, 3, 7. Good. Thank God. Because if it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, I wouldn't have been able to contain myself as I screamed into the nothingness at how stupid a combination that is. I'll chalk it up to Joubert not being that great with numbers. Big idiot probably thinks 7 comes after 3 anyway. After filling up the generator a bit further, I head back towards the arsenal and enter. I can hear the beast snarling and growling around every corner now. I'm constantly looking around, both hoping and dreading that I'll see it before it sees me. This beast can kiss my arse. My arsenal, in fact. My arse and all the skin around it. I find the weapons locker. Use the code 1237 and start looking for dynamite. Then I hear the growl and the lights go out. The beast, it seems, has some sort of ethereal power over the electricity in here. Doesn't matter how much fuel I have in the generator, the power flickers whenever it's around. I stay low, keep quiet, and it leaves the area, allowing me to continue moving through the labyrinthine maze of shelving, furniture, and boxes until I find my prize and retrace my steps back out to the administration room. I'll store the dynamite in here so that beast doesn't grab it while I'm looking for the detonator. Might as well refill the generator too while I'm at it. At this point, I wasn't sure where to look for the excavation site as it wasn't really listed on the map, so I started with the maintenance wing. In the back of the workshop in there, I found a tunnel full of rats, dead soldiers, and a bunch of dog tags, none of which were useful. The tunnel led to the door to the pillbox up above, but of course, it was locked, with a note nearby saying I could find a key with Foreman Stafford or Father DeRays. Not sure where Stafford or his corpse might be hiding, but but Father Duray's could be in the chapel nearby. It was easy to get to, but some real bad shit went down in here while I was out cold. Bodies strung up, blood everywhere, decapitated heads on the altar. No amount of bleach is going to wash that image from my eyes. Nearby is a journal entry from Lambert, which recounts the days I was missing between the rescue and when I awoke. He mentions a toy bunny he bought for his son that was left behind in the crater where he fell. There's also a strong hint that Lambert is not feeling like his normal self, but is in fact feeling stronger and stronger. Curious that. And how he recovered from the explosion so easily while I did not. Inside the confessional box is the body of Father Duray's and his pillbox key. I must confess that I did appreciate the convenience. Back to the pillbox door, dodging rats and pressing ever onwards away from the growls constantly at my heels. Up in the pillbox is the corpse of Foreman Stafford, as well as the code for his locker. I recall him keeping some useful things in there. Seems like the next best destination. Sure enough, good old Stafford had a wrench in there. Now I can open up those wall grates I keep finding if I need to. But first, to check the only wing I haven't been in yet, the prison. Thankfully, there's not much to it. Some German POWs in there I really have no pity for, and of course, the Beast. Perhaps I could get the Beast to do some work for me here, and clean out the cells. The guy is screaming loud enough anyway. Using my newly found wrench, thanks again Stafford, I pop open a grate into the cell control room and open up all the cells, then just sit back and wait. One screaming prisoner later, and the Beast shows up ready for dinner, freshly opened from the tin. After some screams and juicy squelching, the situation clears up and I can toss the cells. There's a few things in there, but the key find is a huge pair of bolt cutters. Not sure why we'd have left an escape device discarded in a prison cell, but then, we have a guy here that steals handles, so fair enough. With no sign of the tunnels, the only thing I can think to check again is the arsenal. I was pretty distracted by the dynamite in there. Maybe I missed something. Had my head up my own arsenal, you might say. I know I've already used that one. I know. Bite my tight French arsenal. And of course, I find a partially collapsed hallway and a sign to tunnels. Just inside are iron bars and a gate that is chained shut. But thanks to the prison blocks, we've got a way through. Just inside, the floor is half flooded, and the tunnels ahead as well. There's a water pump here, but it has no power. I can see the switch just ahead through the water, so I wade over, power it up, and swim back. The pump works fast and literally drains hundreds of gallons of water in the span of a few seconds. If there's one thing us French people can be proud about, we know how to suck. The tunnels are dark, and more ominous noises pierce through the blackness. The monotonous earthen floors and walls transition into Roman columns and shaped stonework. There is an oppressive fog billowing through the tunnels, only serving to add to the claustrophobia that is bound to set in after being in these dark bunkers and tunnels for so long. There are also shiny, sometimes floating rocks scattered around. Suddenly, a human voice starts singing through the mists nearby. He's clearly hunting me, but continues raving like a madman, making it very easy for silent, sneaky me to find him first and blast him through the fog. Not sure who that was, but again, no curiosity either. At the deepest point of the excavation site, bathed in a pool of blue moonlight from above, sits the detonation handle, the final key to the explosive doorway I'm about to open. In a wall near the handle is some rubble blocking a tunnel. I move it out of the way, pass through, and emerge in the crater hole where I found Lambert those few days ago. His dog tag is here, which is odd since he survived, didn't he? And the toy rabbit mentioned in his note from the chapel. Nothing else to be found, I head back through the tunnels to the bunker exit, my final destination. One final stop at the lockers where I open Lambert's to find one final journal entry that dissipates any doubts that I had hoped to hold on to. The water he drank from the crater while he was down there had corrupted him in some way. It changed him and transformed him, drove him to kill, He is the beast. I make for the exit and prep the dynamite in the handle. Give it a shove and blow that shit to kingdom come. Not wanting to wait around after the commotion I just caused, I charged through the open tunnel, eager to escape, only to fall into a hole to a different tunnel below. Fuck. Nowhere to go but forwards. I follow it through and emerge in a massive but dark cavern with some form of structure in the middle. It's hard to make out with my minimal lighting. I lower a series of bridges and see in the flickering light that Lambert, the beast, is in here with me. I trick him with various bridges and leave him trapped as I reach the far side of the cavern where I can see light above to escape. Dragging some boxes to climb as fast as I can, hearing Lambert struggle with the thirst to eviscerate me as he tries to reach my platform. I throw the rabbit toy to distract his attention as I clamber through the cracks in the rock to the dim light ahead and fall into a pit of water and half-eaten corpses. Lambert emerges up above, now free from his confinement below, and runs off onto the battlefield, a scourge I have set free upon the world. From the other direction, the lights and sounds of approaching German soldiers. As I close my eyes and brace for the darkness it seems I never escaped from, after all. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed that content. Please let me know in the comments if you really enjoyed this kind of first-person POV story summary. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. As always, my friends, be legendary.